Next thing I want to check out. I love DeathBattle. I remember when DeathBattle was brand new, and they did things like Samus Aran versus Boba Fett. When they did Luke Skywalker versus Harry Potter. When they did a lot of really uh, crazy stuff. That being said, I kind of fell out of DeathBattle. I haven't watched DeathBattle in a few years. So for their main things, it's been a hot minute. I'm gonna go back. What's the last one I actually remember seeing? It's probably been a few years, honestly, since I've watched DeathBattle. It's probably been, oh my god, it's been a long time. Let's check their playlist. Do they have one that's just the death battles themselves? No. It's definitely been more than 2 years at least then. It might be more than like 4 years. I don't know. I remember a lot of the classic ones. Yeah, I don't remember that. Don't remember that. No, man. Not I think Carnage versus Lucy from Elfenlied was one of the last ones. Was that one of these? Red versus Blue? That's great. Todoroki versus Zuko? Oh, that's fun. Danny Phantom versus American Dragon? Booster Gold versus Cable? Goro versus Machamp? Gray versus Esdeath? There's some cool ones. I think Gino versus War Machine. That sounds familiar. Deadpool versus The Mask. Mob versus Tatsumaki. Ganondorf versus Dracula. Sasuke versus Hiei. Oh my god, it has been so long. I remember Ghost Rider versus Lobo. I have definitely seen Ghost Rider versus Lobo. So it's been maybe 6 years since I've watched DeathBattle. Which would probably be, around. Yeah, no, I remember Aang versus Edward Elric. So it was probably around the time I moved into this apartment that I stopped watching DeathBattle. That's a while ago, man. That's crazy. But the reason I bring it all up is because there's a DeathBattle that just came out that I want to check out. Aang versus the Traveler. Obviously, Danny Phantom wants to. Yeah, there sound like some cool ones there. Superboy Prime versus Sentry? Yuji versus Denji? That's kind of crazy, especially if they go with some of the end game feats. Bakugo versus Reze. That's Bakugo. Cell versus Metal Sonic. That sounds cool. Ichigo versus Yusuke. Ash versus Yugi. Dante versus Clive. Buffy versus Blade. That sounds fun. I'm a big fan of Buffy and Blade. Ruby versus Maka. Scythe users. Godzilla versus Hulk. Spider-Man Deku. Man, maybe I just want to check out a whole bunch of death battles. But I want to check out Aang versus the Traveler. Obviously, I just saw the Avatar movie in theaters. I talked about it before. And obviously, I'm a huge Genshin Impact fan. We've done multiple... We've been doing Genshin on stream since Sumeru. And I've been playing Genshin since launch week. So, Battle of the Elementalists, right? I want to check this out. This just sounds awesome.
Aang the Avatar versus Aether the
Boom and
Traveler.
Wizstick.
Which journeyman will come out
Wiz
on
and
top in
Boomstick.
this elemental battle?
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our
it's
job
been a
to
while.
analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Chad and Ben, right?
Water, earth, fire, air.
It's been so long
ago,
since I've done a death
four
battle.
nations lived in harmony,
This is great.
united by a master of the elements, the Avatar.
This Avatar reincarnated as different people for centuries, all with their own struggles. And man, was that true for our boy Aang.
Not at first, of course, thanks to his master and guardian, Yatsu.
Yatso.
Cheeky little air nomad
Who had some
traveled
great
the
moments
world
in the new
causing
movie.
Shenanigans, all while learning to control the winds with air bending.
Based on the real-life martial art Bagua
Bagua.
Zhang, airbending
Yeah.
is the most spiritual of the four bending styles, focusing on evading and diverting attacks through circular motions. With even the smallest movement, Aang can create
Bagua
tornadoes,
was air.
unlike the wind, and block
Tai Chi was
hypersonic
water.
explosions.
The perfect style for a twinkle-toed goofball like Aang.
Oh, God.
He even invented his own technique, the air
I know
scooter.
Southern Mantis
How did
Kung
he not
Fu
fall
was
off that
tough.
thing?
Add in a glider
But
style
I'm
for
trying to
flight,
remember
and the
what-
sky was the limit. But you know how it goes. Everything changed when the Fire Nation
Air Nomad, co-founder of the United Republic, master of penguin sledding and koi surfing. Yeah. But and obviously, Fire Nation was fire bending is kung fu. I'm trying to remember. It was a form of karate,
Their
wasn't it?
conquest spread, war was inevitable, and Aang was the only one who could save the world.
Trying to
Yeah,
remember.
he wasn't happy with all that, and being forcibly separated from Gyatso. He was just a kid, so he froze up.
Earthbending was Hungar.
Literally, he accidentally froze himself and his adorable
Hungar
sky
Kung
bison
Fu.
Appa for 100 years.
Until he was awakened by the Water Tribe siblings Katara and Sokka. Time wasn't kind to Aang's people. With no avatar to keep balance, the Airbenders, Aang's entire culture, were wiped out by the Fire Nation.
Oh, that's rough, buddy. But
After
Aang
watching
took
the
wake-up
movie, I
call
kind of
hard.
want to do a
As the
rewatch
Avatar,
of
it's
both
Aang's duty
Atla
to
and
understand
Korra.
the world's
Because it
people,
was a really
learning
good
their
bridge
culture,
between the two.
Their sadness, joy, and humanity.
And what better way to do that than
I
learning
kind of wonder
how
if they're
they
going to use
kick
any
ass?
clips from
From
the
the
new movie.
Northern Water Tribe and his twin Crush, Aang learned waterbending. Themed around fluid Tai Chi movements, this style controls liquid in all forms to freeze targets, create water whips, and even cut through steel.
Learning earthbending was way tougher, but Aang's friend Toph taught him to stop being a wimpy pushover. Now he can armor himself in stone, move the terrain of entire
hold on one
cities,
sec.
and fight blind with a sonar-style seismic sense.
Earthbending is themed around the steady stances of Hung Quan Kung Fu, waiting for the right moment to strike head-on.
There was a lot to learn, but even with the world at stake and this moody hothead on his tail, Aang had fun doing it. Who could forget the adventures penguin sledding, going through the bending bayous, and living in Ba Sing Se, the city where no wars ever happened.
Yet across his journey, one power eluded Aang. The Avatar State, an enhanced mode of being that came to him in moments of peril.
Sure, if Aang dies in it, the Avatar cycle ends permanently, but who cares when it gives you enough power to wipe out a whole Navy fleet?
All right.
Come on,
Sorry about that.
Boomstick. The Avatar State is more than just a power amp.
Jocelyn, how long have you been standing there?
I've been here the whole time. I lurk where all Avatar talk is. Through the cosmic power of the Avatars before him and the ancient
Sorry, I want to go
spirit
back to
Rava,
1 second.
Aang gains
Northern Water Tribe and his twin Crush, Aang learned waterbending. Themed around fluid Tai Chi
yep.
movements, this style grew steel.
Over. Now he can armor
Airbending, air scooter, increased mobility, tornadoes, spiritual projection, super speed. They rarely talk about that with airbending. Waterbending, ice manipulation, octopus form, water spouts, water whip. Firebending, the dancing dragon, heat control, fire stream, and lightning redirection. Earthbending, earth armor, rock throwing, seismic sense, and tunneling. And earth and energy.
for himself in stone, move the terrain of entire cities, and fight blind with a sonar-style seismic sense.
Earthbending is themed around the steady stances of Hung Quan Kung Fu, waiting for the right moment to strike head-on.
There was a lot to learn, but even with the world at stake and this moody hothead on his tail, Aang had fun doing
right.
it. Who could forget the adventures penguin slitting, going through the bending bayous, and living in Ba Sing Se, the city where no wars
nothing
ever
happens.
happened.
Yet across his journey, one power eluded Aang, the Avatar State, an enhanced mode of being that came to him in moments of peril.
Sure, if Aang dies in it, the Avatar cycle ends permanently, but who cares when it gives you enough power to wipe out a whole Navy fleet?
Come on, Boomstick. The Avatar State is more than just a power amp.
Jocelyn,
Yep.
how long have you been standing there?
I've been
In the words
here
of
the whole
Tenzin,
time.
the Avatar State is not a
I lurk
rocket
where all
booster.
Avatar talk is. Through the cosmic power of the Avatars before him and the ancient spirit Rava, Aang gains the knowledge and experience of all previous Avatars, greatly expanding his bending options.
Yep.
Lava bending from Avatar Roku, sonic shouts from Avatar Yang Chen.
Yep. That was from the Yang Chen novels, which I have over there, along with the Roku novels and the Kyoshi novels, which are some of the best books I've ever read.
And
I
even
love-
more are theoretically available to him through their memories.
Oh, I get it. You can't just grind your way to controlling the Avatar state.
Right. If Aang wanted to stop Fire Lord Ozai, he needed something else.
He needed onion banana juice.
Yeah, technically, I suppose. Gross.
Specifically, Aang sought the guidance of Guru
Cosmic
Put.
powers,
Mastering his
spiritual
power meant
communion,
clearing
enhanced
his
bending, collective knowledge of all
chakras, emptying
Avatars.
his mind of earthly attachments.
Access to unique bending, iridescent fire, internal freezing. That was a Kyoshi specialty, internal freezing. She did it to a specific character. In one of the most interesting attacks, Kyoshi wanted to put someone down peacefully, so she hit them in the chest and froze their heart and lungs. And it said that the explosive cold and frost created mist, like exploded with such force it created mist behind the person she killed that resembled glittering wings of frost, if just for a second. And I've always loved that description. Lightning generation, sonic shouts, and golem form.
Simple, but this also meant rejecting his feelings for Katara, the person he loved most.
When he had to choose between the world or the girl, Aang followed his heart and it didn't end well.
He got better. Aang was determined to understand the world's people, even the enemy Fire Nation. Something he accomplished thanks to
Good
the
job,
redeemed
Aang.
Prince Zuko, the Sun Warriors,
And these two honkin' dragons! Aang was scared of firebending, but it's totally awesome. It's not just about burning and blowing shit up. Okay, well it is, but there's so much more to it.
Formed
Life.
from the explosive movements of Shaolin Kung Fu, firebending controls all manner of heat. And through the teachings of fire and water, he can redirect lightning bending, a burst of atmospheric discharge shot at over 200,000 miles per hour.
Iroh, the best uncle ever, used his techniques to redirect natural lightning. So, you know it's the real deal. Not crazy enough? At his peak, Aang surpassed benders who could throw buildings, melt stone, and hold up this gigantic library solo.
Yep.
Whooping Ozai's butt should be no problem, right?
Not exactly. You see, the air nomads were pacifists who believed in the value of life above all.
Yep.
Being the last airbender, Aang didn't think his people were truly gone unless he went back on their teachings.
Again, a lesson
Meaning
that's
he
very
really
well
didn't
reinforced
want
in
to
the new
kill
movie.
Ozai.
So, what, he's just a coward now? Mr. Firelord is about to burn down the entire Earth Kingdom!
Not at all. Are you even listening? Aang was simply at odds with what he wanted and what the world expected, so he needed to make a choice.
Right. In his greatest challenge yet, Aang discovered his true self, making his spirit unbendable and finally mastering the Avatar state.
Making him as strong as avatars who could cause hurricanes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions!
Or in Avatar Kyoshi's
Sito.
case, a new island. As in, she broke off nearly 30 square miles of a
Queen.
peninsula to form a new landmass. But to defeat Ozai, Aang needed one final element, something few avatars had bent before.
So
Energy.
far, we only know of
Not the
3.
easiest thing to do, but Aang totally overwhelmed
Wan,
Ozai,
Aang,
severing
and
the tyrant's
Sonam.
connection to fire and stopping his invasion, all while keeping his no-kill run intact. The ultimate F-you to this warlord's ideology.
Now that the Fire Nation had cooled off,
Ugh.
Feat's youngest airbending master. Wiped out a naval fleet. Caught an explosion with airbending. Redirected lightning from Ozai. Lifted columns weighing thousands of tons. Defeated Firelord, Ozai, Azula, Zuko, Liam, and Yakon. Yep.
Aang led a new era
Hold on. Leon, was that... She was... I'm trying to remember Leon. That was from the comics, right? The main antagonist of the Last Airbender video game for the Wii. Never mind. I was off there. Not they don't have like some of the cool comic feats like defeating General Old Iron, who's a massive kaiju spirit of a man clad in like Chinese military armor made of pure iron. Defeating the first anti-bending revolution, or the pro-bending revolution, the bending supremacy movement, then defeating the deniers, or the denied.
of peace with the United Republic of Nations, a place where all people could prosper and where a new generation and a new avatar would take the reins.
He even got hitched with Katara. Take that, Zutara.
So they don't have anything from the new movie.
Will end you.
For all his doubts, Aang fulfilled the Avatar's destiny.
Yeah,
and
Zutara
then
shippers are
some.
delusional
And
weirdos.
he did it in a way that was true to who he was.
Because before being the Avatar, or even an airbender, the greatest thing he could ever be was himself. All in a day's work for a free, fun-loving kid.
The battle is coming up thanks to this episode's sponsor, DraftKings Casino.
On trips,
Oh, no, we don't.
The
No
Chroma
Or visit New
DraftKings.
Jersey to spins valid in
barbecue sauce.
Add Astra.
Add extra barbecue sauce.
Add Astra.
Add extra
Abasai.
applesauce.
Welcome to Tevat, a mysterious land governed
Dragon's
by godly
fine.
archons that drew the eye of someone beyond the stars, Ether.
AKA the Traveler, who escaped his dying world with his sister Lumine in search of the flowers that blew.
Aether aged thousands, Constellation Viator, member of the Ventricles affiliation Knights of Favonius, Benny's Adventure Team, the Watatsumi Army, the Blazing Beasts, the Legion of Soul Blazers, and the Nightmare Orioles.
Bloomed on their lost home, only to crash land, awaken to an apocalypse, and get cubed by this jerk.
Separated from his sister,
Yep.
Ether awoke, again, in a new, less apocalyptic age, and fished up his own pathetic pet pixie, Paimon.
Yeah,
Emergency
she makes for
food.
good emergency food. With his new guide, Traveler,
got my Paimon
Traveler to the windy country of Mondstadt to find his link to the past, but got a Breath of the Wild glider instead.
And his first element, Animo, letting him make air slashes, tornadoes, and of course,
Windblade!
Windblade!
But guess what? Traveler wasn't the only one with a power like this. Tevat was full of blessed people wielding these
Right
relic
from the
things
manga.
called visions.
vision bearers can imbue their weapons and bodies with elemental power, summon items, and use a special, well, vision to perceive the elements around them.
Normally, they're limited to a single element, but Traveler is just built different.
Because he's a descender. Elemental, resonation, animo, geo, electro, dendro, hydro, pyro. We don't have cryo yet. Obviously, we have yet to go to the nation of cryo, but we'll be there in 2 weeks. Very excited. And they did announce this Friday is the live stream. But also Phlogiston and Kuvaki, which is primordial elemental energy of the light realm and moon-tainted elemental energy. Abyssal purification, elemental reactions, elemental sight, item summoning, Night Soul's blessing, which is a byproduct of using Phlogiston. Teleportation, Saurian indwelling, spirit breath thorns, and xenochromatic abilities. Yeah, wow.
Through Paimon's guidance, he began collecting elements from mysterious statues across
Getting
Tibet.
power-ups
no
like
vision relic needed for him.
Each nation had a new culture, a new element, a new crisis.
And new character banners. When asked to play a sleuth for a murder case in Liyue, Traveler wasn't interested. A corpse couldn't tell him where his sis was, but he was roped in anyway and got the geo ability to form rock constructs and eruptions of Earth.
When Aether ventured to Inazuma, he didn't care about its war with the Vision Bearers and
At
their
first.
Archon either, until he saw the suffering caused by its tyrannical rule, and joined the resistance with electro abilities, fighting the powers
Swordfish
that be
2,
using
baby!
electric buzzsaws, thunder blades, and lightning.
He even learned to dodge lightning. Other electro users like my wife Lisa can conjure storms. No shock when my adopted daughter Klee made explosions that raised mountains. Traveler met all kinds of people like this. You know the type. Twinks.
Yeah, Tibet has its own laws, Boomstick. Many twinks being one of them. Maybe 2 or 3 of them, actually.
Ringmaster.
Shut up, Wiz. This guy's been playing
Who?
Genshin since launch.
I know everything there is to know about the Genshin meta. Either can mix elements for different reactions. Basically, big elemental combinations. Geo crystallizes materials into special barriers.
Explaining elemental
Electro mixed
reactions.
with water stuns foes. Animo spreads elements around in swirls of destruction. Boom, 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 boom!
Like how I combine beer and gunpowder.
Exactly, Boomstick. Using Dendro, Traveler can form plant life that, when mixed with water and lightning, makes homing beams. Yeah, run from that. With enough clever thinking and artifact farming, you can combine anything in Genshin.
Okay, we get it. Go lose another 50-50, you whale.
I'll show you a whale. Drop one on your lap next time you're not looking.
In Sumeru, Traveler later beat Scaramouche, an edgy catboy with multiple elements at his fingertips.
Yeah.
All in a time loop that got repeated 168 times.
Speaking of time, Aether had control of more than just his own future. Tibet's fate fundamentally changed in ways small and grand, all through his unending willpower.
Because the Traveler was a descender, someone unbound by the land's destiny. Even this big tree that records all of the world's events had no idea he existed.
Like when he helped defy the judgment of a biblical flood in Fontaine, where he mastered Hydro for his best Cuphead impression with water bullets.
Pew,
Heck,
pew, pew,
a
pew.
dinosaur chose not to blow up the world just because Paimon and
Yeah.
Traveler befriended it. If that wasn't cool enough, Traveler can, unrelated, turn into a dinosaur. Hell yeah! Yo, look at him. Wonder if I could get a dinosaur on my Genshin team.
Through these legally distinct Pokemon, Aether can fly, dig through the earth, or charge foes like a...
While Aether typically requires a Saurian or Spirit Sconce to indwell, he could become a Saurian without either in the Archon quest Where All Hope Lies.
Jurassic Bull. He traveled across the land, searching far and wide, and finally stopped swinging that one-star dull blade.
Instead, picking up the prototype Rancor, which he wields like a beast thanks to the
Swords. Dullblade, Aminoma Aguchi, The Calamity of a Shoe, The Festering Desire, I Wish. Harbinger of Dawn, Moonweaver's Dawn, Prototype Rancor, there you go. Sapwood Blade, Silver Sword, Skyward Blade, Sword of Dissension, only if you're on PlayStation for that one. And the Sword of Narcissenkreuz, which is what I use. His standard artifact set is the Gladiator's Finale, the Emblem of Severed Fate, the Obsidian Codex, the Scroll of the Hero, Cinder City, Windglider, Cool Your Jets Ducky from I Know, various foods, potions, essential oils, and gadgets.
Swordmaster Skirk, and several straight days of training. What a grind set! Still, Traveler Sist kept eluding him, choosing to hang in the shadows with these Gluminati folk.
A group from Conria, the nation cursed by the gods for messing with the Abyss. Unbeknownst to Aether, his sister had already traveled to Vat in a journey that mirrored his own.
And at the end, she found... Well, we don't really know. Not yet, at least. But whatever
Sea of
it is got her
Intervets.
to side with the creepy villains. Lot twist.
Eventually, Aether reached the nation of Natlan to fight in its never-ending war with the Abyss. He gained the Pyro element, learning to launch fireballs and explosions combined of flame with lightning.
He didn't just dabble in fancy pyrotechnics. By connecting with the
Too
people
mighty?
there, Traveler achieved Night Soul's Blessing, a power-up state fueled by primordial element juice, strong enough to make a blade of fire hundreds of feet long. Hell yeah, that's strong
Yeah.
enough to take down the heart of the Abyss, which
Love
is on
Aang,
the level of
love
five-star waifus
Genshin.
like Mawika and
Kinda
the
hoping
Raiden
Genshin
Shogun.
wins.
An Archon who, in ages past, sliced Yashiori Island in two.
That's cool, but how about when this Venti guy threw a whole-ass mountain? According
Yep.
to Paimon, Traveler can level a mountain himself.
Additionally, Aether learned how to use light energy to
This
form a
claim was
Kuvaki
directly
shield. Something
this claim was directly compared to the strength of the Geo Dragon Sovereign Ajdaha, who Aether helped defeat.
he used to protect the people of Nodcry by blocking a cannon blast with enough energy to obliterate a town.
This
Yeah,
was
shouldn't
no
like
ordinary cannon either. It also uses Kavaki
Kavaki
energy,
cannon,
so
yeah.
that's a beam of light.
Through all his adventures, Aether had come to genuinely care for Tevat's people. Maybe one day he will reunite with his sister, but for now,
We will be
he's
reunited.
fighting for a whole new world, his new home.
Ooh, you need a higher adventure rank for that.
Don't you worry, gang. I dumped all
Feats. Always does his dailies for the guild. Saved Little One from the Flame Lord's blessing. That was the dinosaur who could have entered the world. Caught a giant mechanical hand trying to crush him. Trained several days straight without rest. Shielded a town from a Kuvaki beam. Defeated... technically, he didn't defeat Dvalin. He defeated Storm Terror, who's the corrupted version of Dvalin. Tartaglia, Signora, Scaramouche, the all-devouring Narwhal, Gasoithoth, and Dottore. And also Dottore. Don't forget that time.
my savings into primo gems for this. We can't miss when those ice guys trying to kill the Traveler inevitably warm up to him. Still got it.
Ah, so that's why you're broke as shit.
To Aether, the journey has meaning. The birds of Tevat, the songs of its people.
Not
they're
Timmy's
all
pigeons.
part of it. Even if he's against the abyss itself, a new dawn is somewhere just beyond the stars. And
Cool.
a field of flowers Lumine too loved.
Into that.
The battle's about to start, and if you like death battle music, some of your favorite battle tracks are coming.
What's got me curious, they're doing this now, before Snezhnaya, and I'm of the opinion that Aether, once he gets all the elements, and we enter either the nation of Conria or Celestia, we will regain Aether's light ability. I truly believe that. I would personally love if Aether / Lumine the Traveler's final power-up is literally just a select wheel, and you can instantly swap between elements, making Aether one of the most powerful units in the game because they can self-set up elemental reactions. I think that would be the hands-down coolest ability. So if you could switch from Pyro to Electro, then trigger a swirl, then switch to light power and fly around with a light sword. That's cool. I would love that. So you trigger a Pyro, overload, swirl, and then you do light attacks for DPS. Something like that, I think, would be the coolest. Let's check this out.
To a collectible vinyl album.
This album features 10 tracks from our independent era, created by our awesome composers Brandon Yates and Darewolf Media, like Death in Bloom from Ruby vs. Maka,
Didn't see that.
Or Requiem for a Thief from Joker vs. Giorno.
Didn't see that. Joker versus Giorno? I mean, if they have Requiem...
oh, can't forget Game Over from Bowser vs. Eggman.
I
And
think
more.
I've seen that.
Plus, it makes a great piece of art to display around your place. Drawn up by our own animation director, Luis Cruz.
This album is only available for pre-order, so head to deathbattle.gg or click the link in the description before August 10th and pre-order a copy so you don't miss out.
And
My
remember,
record player
Archivist
broke
and
like a
Chronicler
year
members
ago, and I
get a
haven't gotten it
discount.
replaced since
That's
then.
deathbattle.gg, the home of Death Battle. All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through
All right,
all
let's check it out.
possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
There's a comic reference.
Windblade!
No setup, just right into it.
Two elements?
Oh yeah, indwelling. It's a Tonkasaur.
Cute!
Yep. Two Mighty's Fireblade, yep. Oh, so they can see each other with Seismic Sense and Elemental Sight. Hyper Bloom.
What's going on? I'm on Ghost treasure hunting for 2 minutes now. Everything is going kaboom.
Paimon bipped out of there before Appa ate her. Air glider versus wind glider.
Cool glider. Can it do this?
Come on,
This is cool music.
get up! Never, ever, ever stop moving forward. Remember,
No
Night
one
Soul's
fights
Blessing.
alone.
Ooh, Sword of Dissension. Still haven't gone into Avatar state though.
For those who came before, and those who will follow,
Isn't that the speech from
I am Avatar Aang, the last airbender.
Gurren Lagann? Tuvaki?
Through the heights and shallows. Through infinite dusks and dawns!
Cool. Yeah.
way to go, traveler. But does this mean no treasure?
Did they drop 10 Primo Gems?
And my dailies are done. What a miss.
This was an interesting pairing, so let's break this down by power, experience, speed, and elements.
First up, power. Aang and Traveler could both change the terrain of entire cities, and
Yep.
we're way stronger than characters that can break mountains. But at their peak, they're both tearing up islands.
Aang's avatar state made him on par with Kyoshi, who created and moved the island of
Kyoshi.
Similarly, Night Soul's Blessing let Ether contend with Archon-level foes like the Raiden Shogun, who split Yashiori Island in two.
With an attack that even Vision
Kazuha blocked the Muso no Hitotachi with 2 elements. Ether has more elements, Night Soul's Blessing, and has some restrictions lifted by Columbina at the end of the Nod Cry quest. Ether also survived a replication of the Muso no Hitotachi used by Dottore, whose power has been compared to an Archon.
Bearer's weaker than Traveler can block, so he's definitely on that level.
Kyoshi Island is over 6 miles wide and long. Kyoshi moved the island 17 miles offshore in 2 seconds, so we have everything we need to calculate the amount.
Even generously scaling Aang to the Moon Spirit, Ether scales to Varka, who aided in pulling down the Frost
of
Moon.
kinetic energy.
Yeah, but we don't know how much Varka contributed to that, because, again, that was with Nicole's power-up, with Arlecchino using That was before Arlecchino had a Shard of the Moon.
energy this
But
would
Arlecchino
require.
also,
Turns
yeah.
out it's basically the same as cutting through Yashiori Island, about 3,000 gigatons of TNT. So their power is tied up.
Which means comparing their experience is crucial.
Ether's mastered more elements than Aang, but the Avatar state gave Aang centuries of knowledge.
With the memories and abilities of past avatars, Aang's kit was so extensive in a way Ether had no real answer for.
Not to mention, Aang's training was more
Most of Ether's thousands of years were spent in stasis, while the Avatar state grants Aang potentially 10,000 years of relevant
focused.
combat
Traveler
knowledge.
is skilled, sure, but his training was mostly just a means to finding his sister, while Aang's journey was all about mastering elements to combat other elements.
Experience narrowly goes to Aang. However, another important factor to consider is speed.
In terms of mobility, both could roughly match the other. If Traveler was immobilized with earthbending, he could just dig his way out as a dinosaur.
And Aang's airbending and glider meant he could easily counter Ether if he took flight.
But in terms of raw reaction speed, Traveler had it in the bag. Aang bending away lightning is crazy fast, but Traveler could dodge lightning much earlier in his journey, and now he can block that light-speed Kuvaki laser.
While lightning can move over 200,000 miles per hour, a beam of light can move 186,000 miles per second.
Over 3,000 times faster than Aang. Traveler takes speed by a landslide.
So this all came down to the elements. Who could turn the forces of nature
Yeah,
against the
and we're
other?
at 6
At
elements
first, I actually
versus
thought
4.
this was Aang's dub.
Ether's elemental control is remarkable, but most of his attacks are projectiles, spires, and very specific implements that Aang has bent away in the past. Ether has never shown the precision or creative flexibility that we've seen with Aang's bending.
But throw in the combos of elemental reactions and the script flips. Traveler could mix not just his elements, but also Aang's in ways that Aang could not. Bending was Aang's greatest strength, but also, against Traveler, a weakness.
Because Aang usually had one or more elements around him, it gave Ether an easy access point through these combinations.
That's what that
when
meant,
Aang
okay.
used fire, Ether could use lightning to catch him in an overload. If Aang used water, Traveler's electrocharge could paralyze him, and so on.
This isn't just a gameplay thing. Genshin characters like the lovely Lisa
Elemental reactions are also mentioned by Prune in the Phantasmal Pals event, and her feelings about Ascension intro voiceover, so they are canon in modern content.
canonically say this is how the elements work.
And unlike Aang, Ether has fought multiple people who can use multiple elements. The longer the fight went on, the more Aang, Ether has fought multiple people who
Canonically say this is how the elements work.
and unlike Aang,
Yeah, just multiple elementals. So Scaramouche used Electro, Cryo, Pyro, and Animo.
Ether has fought multiple
Signora used Pyro and Cryo. Tartaglia used Hydro, Electro. And Dottore used Pyro, Electro, Hydro.
people who can use multiple elements. The longer
Yeah.
the fight went on, the more Ether would trip Aang up with these combinations, some of which Aang could not bend.
Aang could redirect lightning, sure, but what about electro buzzsaws, or an electrified tornado, or dendroblasts of pure plant energy?
The Kavaki shield especially gave Ether a strong defense to fall back on. Since it was made of pure light, Aang had no way to remove it outside of brute force.
By comparison, Aang's wind barrier wouldn't lock Traveler's elements. It would
would just
actually
end.
merge with them and create more combos that would target Aang himself. Not a great situation to be in.
And
Various Animo characters infuse elements into their wind creations, such as Lan Yan, combining elements with her wind shield.
since Ether's powers came from external earthly sources, like those statues, Aang could not depower him with energy bending, even if he theoretically overcame Ether's willpower.
Willpower that is strong enough to alter the fate of the entire world. Sorry, Aang, but elements goes to the Traveler. Cinch in his victory. Either
Yep.
way you cut it, he was in his element.
The winner is the Traveler, Ether.
Okay, I'm ready for my cameo. Oh.
I think I remember him.
Next time on Death Battle.
Bionicle versus Ninjago?
Subscribe and
Kai versus Totahu. Okay. Ninjago versus Bionicle.
join as a member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
I might want to check out more death battles. Someone's childhood hero got slimed for 10 primos. Ben in chat. I knew it. Okay. Oh my god, I forgot that was Lisa Foyles. I always forget that she does stuff for them. I had such a huge crush on Lisa Foyles growing up. He was awesome. Lily Pichu as Paimon. Hey. It's cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I might want to, again... I might want to go check out, not now, but at some point in the near future, I might just want to have like a stream where I do nothing but watch death battles. That could be fun. I might enjoy that. Because there are some cool looking ones. Like, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I have read the Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics, which is a thing no one has ever said. I read Frey, which is a alternate world Buffy comic set, it was a couple hundred years in the future of the Buffy universe, that they eventually semi-canonized by bringing a weapon from Frey into the final season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Weird. And I love Blade. I am a rare enjoyer of the original I am a common enjoyer of the Blade movies. The soundtrack slaps. Even the ass third movie I love. And I love the Blade comics. Blade versus Draconis and Dracula and all the stories with his father are incredibly interesting. Big fan of Blade. So I would definitely watch some of these. Again, Yuji vs. Denji, I loved Chainsaw Man. I actually liked how Chainsaw Man ended. I know a lot of fans didn't, particularly Chainsaw Man Part 2. I love how Part 1 ended. Part 2 I also enjoyed. Cell versus Metal Sonic sounds fun. Yu Yu Hakusho is my favorite anime of all time. So Ichigo versus Yusuke. It's got to be Ichigo. Although I love Yusuke so much. When he gets into his S-rank demon form, after he was possessed by Ryzen and all of that stuff, so cool. Ash versus Yugi. I don't know how they're gonna do that. That sounds interesting. Superboy Prime, who is the current Superman in the comics. Superboy Prime is Superman, while Superman is off being King Omega, traveling between dimensions. And Sentry slash the Void, Hulk Godzilla, destroy all monsters over there. Dante versus Clive. That's going to be Dante, right? Although I love Clive. Simon versus Kyle Rayner. Ooh, that sounds cool. It should, logically speaking, be Simon. Especially, they're showing it here when he attains the power of the spiral. But Kyle Rayner, and this is White Lantern Kyle Rayner. That's kind of sick. Maka versus Ruby. Shigaraki versus Mahito. Guess what? Chicken butt. Vi, you got me, you fool. Bakugo versus Reze. Black Adam versus Apocalypse. Ooh, that should be Apocalypse. Ghost Rider versus Spawn. Oh, that's neat. Gru versus Megamind. Megamind has that presentation. Although Gru's pretty sick. Joker versus Giorno. It should be. Happy birthday, Vi! I hope you had a good one. I hope your birthday was most spectacular. I really hope you had a good one, my friend. Did you do anything special, or did you just hung out? Rick versus the Doctor. That should logically be Rick, but I love Doctor Who, particularly Tennant. Cole versus Alex. Infamous versus Prototype. That is obscure baseball. I would kill for another Infamous game. Sucker Punch Studios. Come on. And Prototype 1 and 2, highly underrated. I I loved the prototype games. They were intimidating and weird and creepy. And like the weird parasitic abilities, that sounds awesome. Chief versus Doomslayer. Logically speaking, it should be Doomslayer. Jason versus Michael. Logically speaking, it should be Jason. Kratos versus Asura. Logically speaking, it should be Asura. Manhunter versus Silver Surfer. Logically speaking, it should be Silver Surfer. I'm just like going with very surface level knowledge of who it logically should be in these situations. Top 20 death battles. Saitama versus Popeye. Omni-Man should be Saitama. Omni-Man versus Homelander. Omni-Man. Bowser versus Eggman should be Bowser, but if Eggman pulls out some tricks. Another Goku versus Superman. My God, you guys, take it. Just stop. Gojo versus Makima. Does Control surpass Infinity? They have Wally Flash versus Archie Sonic. That's cool. It should be Archie Sonic, but Wally Flash is crazy. Went to an all-you-can-eat buffet. That sounds sick. That sounds dope. What kind of food? It's still going to be good no matter what. I love a good all-you-can-eat buffet. Oh, man, that was sick. I think I might do a stream where I just do a whole bunch of Death Battle. Because this is really rad. And I feel like it would definitely be worthwhile to go back and see a lot of this. I watched this a couple days ago, which is why I wanted to do this and get back into this. Sick.